Hello, my name is George, and I welcome you to my 3-part video on server security. If you are a person seeking to better your life, and are pursuing computer security certification, I salute you and wish you the best. If you are a seasoned professional and you stumbled upon this video, I wish you peace of mind. May your network enjoy many years of information technology without an RGE, resume generating event. Servers. Network servers provide access to data and services required by all the users on the network. They are the central resources on the network, and a high level of security must be maintained to protect the valuable data and services from getting into the hands of unauthorized users. Physical access. Access to servers should be restricted to authorized individuals, such as the network administrator. Servers should be stored in a locked room or, at the least, locked in some type of cage or rack to prevent passers-by from being able to access the console or the server equipment itself. Access control badges and readers work good. However, you should be able to bypass the door reader and badge system in case it goes down. If you have an elevated ceiling, make sure you can't access the server room by simply removing ceiling tiles. The server console should be password protected, so only authenticated users can physically access the server or attempt access through a network connection. Internet servers. Servers on your network that connect to or are accessed by the internet are prime candidates for malicious attacks. You should install a firewall to increase security and protect a private network from publicly accessible internet servers. Internet servers, such as Hypertext Transfer Protocol (HTTP) web servers and File Transfer Protocol (FTP) systems, should be running on their own network, such as a DMZ, or demilitarized zone off the firewall. If an unauthorized user breaks into your FTP server and it is part of your internal private local area network LAN, the attacker might be able to access any system on the network. With the firewall in place, the attacker can see only the servers on the internet portion of the firewall, which effectively hides the internal network from external users. All the latest OS and application software patches should be installed on internet servers to ensure that existing security vulnerabilities are closed and the servers are not exposed to existing threats. Services and ports. Many server operating systems are installed by default, with a number of different internet services, such as HTTP, Telnet, and FTP, which enable outside users to access the server remotely. These services can contain security vulnerabilities that can be exploited by unauthorized users to gain access to the system. Network ports operating without your knowledge can also provide access to your server. To ensure that the system is running only the services the server needs, you can examine the services and open network ports on the system and disable any that are not being used. This is especially necessary for internet servers, which can be accessed by anyone on the network for internet and are vulnerable to network scanners that look for and exploit open ports. Some of the most common programs installed by default on an internet server include HTTP server software, FTP, Simple Mail Transport Protocol (SMTP), and Telnet. These services should be turned off if they are not being used. Auditing your system regularly and removing access to services and ports that are no longer in use are critical to mitigating potential risks and threats. Clients. The clients of a company are the desktop and laptop computers and mobile devices that are used to perform daily job functions. A mid-size to large company can have hundreds or thousands of computer clients connected on a network. Trying to control the security of all these computers can be a huge task, but a well-planned network can make the job easier. When networking client workstations, properly structuring the network is important. For example, user data should be stored on centralized file servers or network-attached storage devices. This enables you to control access to these resources easily through the use of authentication and file access permissions. Each person should be required to authenticate to the network with a username and password before being granted access to any network resources. Internet access. In today's corporate networks, most users have access to the Internet to send and receive email and instant messages, and to access information they need to do their work. Although most networks are secured from outside intrusion through the use of routers and firewalls, several security vulnerabilities can be created by users inside the network. At the office, users often download and install applications that should not be operating on the company network, such as chat, file sharing, and music swapping programs. Unfortunately, these applications can contain security vulnerabilities that allow access to unauthorized users outside the company via unique service ports that the company firewall might not be blocking. On top of the security vulnerabilities, in-house user interaction with outside Internet users can result in viruses or Trojan horse programs being downloaded, which allow backdoor access to the user's computer. To protect against the use of these programs, the network administrator should block the service ports accessed by these programs on the firewall so they cannot communicate with the Internet. The administrator can also assign access rights to users on their computers that deny them the ability to install any type of software that is not already loaded on their system. Some users also download questionable content from the Internet, such as pornographic materials or other objectionable content, onto their office computer. This presents a legal problem for the company, as many companies have been sued for allowing such access. To prevent this activity, network administrators can install special web filter programs that block access to these sites. These filters use a list of known objectionable sites that is compared to the websites users try to access through their web browsers. These lists can also contain websites of well-known phishing, spyware, and malware sites, which can also be blocked accordingly. Remote access tools, virtual private network VPN software, and modems can be installed on a user's work computer to make it available for access from home or other locations. This creates many security vulnerabilities, however, because, for example, a modem line creates a direct connection to the company network if an unauthorized user tries to connect to that system using a phone line. If the user did not set up proper authentication schemes, a malicious hacker can simply call that modem with her own computer and instantly access the corporate network. Installing remote access software creates an even worse security situation, because if the user didn't set up proper authentication, anyone managing to connect to that computer remotely can access the company network. Network administrators must be aware of all remote access devices connected to the computers on the company network. These devices should be removed unless they are legitimately critical to the work. If a user must use a modem or needs remote access to a computer, the administrator should ensure that proper authentication and encryption schemes are set up on the system and computer to protect the line of communication from unauthorized users. Locking the workstation. When the workstation is left unattended for a lunch break or at the end of the workday, the user should log off and lock the computer with a password. This prevents passers-by from being able to access the systems of others and gaining access to restricted network resources. Software access and privileges. All software on the workstation should be kept current with the most recent patches and upgrades to remove security vulnerabilities from previous versions. The administrator should ensure that users have only the access privileges they need to perform their job functions. For example, any system functions that enable changes to be made to the network address of a computer or any other type of system change should be off limits to a regular user and accessible only to the administrator. Regular users should not be able to access any application or configuration programs other than what are required for their jobs. The most efficient way of preventing certain system functions from user abuse is to enact network-wide security policies that are automatically set for each workstation on the network. This can save considerable time over an administrator having to visit each workstation and block out items one by one. BIOS security. The basic input and output system BIOS of a computer system contains the program code and instructions for starting the computer and loading the OS. BIOS software can be updated when new hardware support and device drivers are required. BIOS software updates may also contain bug fixes and security enhancements that prevent problems in the BIOS code from being exploited and causing the system to be compromised. The BIOS of servers and clients should be updated to the latest version. Most BIOS programs also contain the basic password feature that allows the network administrator to assign a password to the BIOS system that must be entered before any BIOS changes or updates can occur. This provides an additional layer of security to prevent unauthorized access to the BIOS software or the primary system settings. Administrators should be aware that unauthorized users can also boot a system if they have physical access to it using a SerDes that can boot its own OS and bypass the actual BIOS and OS of the computer. Often called a live CD, the disk contains complete OS software and does not boot any code from the system hard disk. From the live CD OS environment, an attacker can access the system and the hard disk. The most popular live CDs often run the Linux operating system, which involves the small number of files that get the base OS up and running. Mobile devices. Mobile computing devices include laptops as well as cellular phones, personal organizers, personal digital assistants PDAs, and other types of wireless devices. Security concerns for mobile devices derive from the nature of their portability, which makes them susceptible to theft, vandalism, and unauthorized access. The portable nature of mobile devices makes them easy to steal without observation. The PDA lying on a desk can be tucked into a coat pocket in seconds, but even unattended laptops can disappear quickly off the user's desk, even during office hours. Mobile devices should never be left unattended, and small items, such as cell phones and PDAs, should be safely secured in a pocket, purse, or belt holster. Larger items, such as laptops, can be secured to a desk or workstation by using a special lockable cable. If a mobile device is stolen, a simple authentication scheme can deter the unauthorized user from accessing any sensitive information on the device. The thief may simply want the hardware rather than the data that resides within, but any device that contains confidential information can be stolen for its valuable content, such as company data or personal identity information. The login and password can be used to protect everything stored on the computer from the OS, to a single file or directory, to the unit itself. A password can be set on the hard drive or basic input/output system BIOS of the laptop system. With this authentication, the unit will turn on but will not load the OS until the correct password is entered. Beyond authentication, critical data can be protected through the use of encryption. By encrypting the contents of a flash card or hard drive, the corresponding encryption key is required before any user can read any data. No key, no access. This is useful for password files that users sometimes keep on their PDAs, flash memory cards, and other mobile devices. Many OSs now come with encryptable file systems, such as BitLocker for Windows and File Vault for Apple Macintosh. Users can selectively encrypt partitions or entire hard drives that require a password key for access. The files are encrypted and decrypted on the fly as the authorized user accesses them. The drive encryption typically employs advanced encryption standards 128 or 256-bit encryption technology. This encryption slows down performance but provides excellent security for laptops and prevents an unauthorized user from accessing any contents of the hard drive. Almost everyone owns a personal and/or company cell phone these days. Cell phones are now used for more than telephone conversations and often offer a combination of features such as a music player, PDA, camera, and data storage device. In high-security environments, camera cell phones are often banned because they can be concealed and used to take high-resolution images that can be instantly transferred off-site via the cell phone network. In unprotected,